अहं गुरुस्साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. Om. Now we were discussing on this point 13th. Yeah, I think in 13th along. Now we should when should we bring the citation or the quotations during the debate? On this point he told at the end, because the disputable you can't bring a statement which is under dispute and draw conclusion based on that. Therefore, first thing is refer to your anubhava and the reasoning based upon anubhava. Anubhavashrita yukti. Okay, anubhava and anubhavashrita yukti. These two should be presented first. What he says is anubhava and anubhavashrita yukti. These two should be stated first. Abba. Noise, disturbance. Okay, and then at the end of the discussion, when the point becomes clear, then you can quote the quotation. Now the question asked, what is the point? What is the point in bringing the quotation at the end? When the point is already cleared, concluded, established, what is the point? For this, Swamiji replied, once you are convinced and at the end of the discussion you bring the quotation, then the benefit of such a quotation is, he says, tathapi vadante tadupanyasena prativadina aham jitaha, that I am defeated by my opponent. There is a hurt, there is a what you say, you are hurt, you feel disturbed or you feel humiliated that I am defeated by my opponent. That feeling will go away. Tathapi vedante tadupanyasena prativadina aham jitaha ityakaraka udvegasya vadini pariharaha prayojanam bhavishyati. That will be, see, I read out my translation also of the same Vakya, yet when it is quoted at the end of the discussion, it helps the debater to recover or come out of humiliation or the hurt, such as I am defeated by my opponent. This feeling will go away that I am defeated my opponent. Because, why, how will it go away? If you bring the quotation at the end of the debate, how will it go away? Because yasmat nayam pakshaha prativadi kapola kalpitaha kastarhi shrutyanu abhiyuktaihi purvataraischa parigruhitaha eva ato nasti udvega karanam. Since this idea or argument is not invented by my opponent, if you feel that your opponent has invented this argument and that argument has proven to be right, and you are defeated by it and you feel humiliated, you feel hurt, why did I not get this idea? You feel bad. So jiva, so opponent jiva, but only blessed by the Shruti. You feel that it is no individual's argument, no individual can say it, it is only Shruti's idea. It is the Shruti's teaching, it is the suggestion of the Shruti, which Shruti alone can do, which nobody, no human being, no jiva can figure out. It is only Ishvara's blessing that we get this idea. Therefore, but only blessed by the Shruti or Ishvara, as well as accepted and adopted by our ancestry, our Purvajaha, our ancestral Acharyas. Our ancient Acharyas also accepted it, and our Shrutis have stated it. If Shruti stated it, and this person has brought the Shruti's implication to me, so it only shows that you don't feel hurt. Oh, it is the blessing of the Shruti. We all have to accept it. So it is no individual, idea is no individual is defeating another individual. It is not that one individual is defeating another individual. It is the Shruti's teaching. Shruti is beyond individual intellect. It is nobody's. So Shruti is superior to all of us, all human mind. Therefore, no one human mind is defeating another human mind. So it is the Shruti which is beyond all human intellects that is revealing this fact. That is pointing out, suggesting the fact. Therefore, I don't have to worry. It is beyond our human intellect. It is the blessing of Shastra. It is the blessing of Shruti. We all are benefited by it. We all are lucky enough to receive the blessing of Shruti. Therefore, you don't feel hurt that it is somebody's individual's victory and an individual's defeat. Nobody's victory, nobody's defeat. All human intellects are equally same. So it is only transcending the human intellect. The Shruti comes to our rescue. Shruti comes and reveals the fact. So once we know, Yasmat Nayam Pakshaha Prativadi Kapola Kalpitaha. It is not invented. Okay? It is not invented by our opponent. Invented or innovated. Okay. But Kastarhi Shrutyanugrihitaha, granted by Shruti as a blessing. Granted by Shruti as a blessing. And also our Purvacharya, ancestral Acharyas also followed the same thing. Therefore, I don't have to worry. I don't have to feel disturbed for it. In fact, I should feel lucky to be blessed by the Shruti. So, if you bring the quotation at the end, you won't feel upset. Rather, you feel the peace of mind. Okay? Next is, this statement should have intrinsic value. No, next, okay. Samadhanam samupajayate. Swamiji gives a quotation in the footnotes. Agamopapattibhyam hi nischito arthaha shraddheyo bhavati avyabhicharat. Agama Shruti Supadesha. Upapatti, the reasoning based upon Shruti, or the reasoning brought about by Shruti. Two things are there. The reasoning brought about, the Shruti itself uses certain reasoning, and it is slightly extended by our Acharyas, slightly elaborated by Acharyas, that the basic arguments are proposed or presented by the Shruti herself. Therefore, agamopapattibhyam nischito arthaha shraddheyo bhavati. That needs to be accepted. Avyabhicharat, because nobody can shake it. Avyabhichara means no anubhava can disprove it, and nobody can shake it. Avyabhichara means it cannot be shaken and it cannot be disproven. Not shaken or disproven by human mind or human intellect or even human anubhava. Not contradicted by human anubhava. Not contradicted by any anubhava for that matter. What Shruti says and what Shrutyukta Tarka says is a final truth, is an absolute truth. It is not shaken by any argument. It is not contradicted by any anubhava. Okay, contradicted or disproved by any anubhava. Next, proceed. Apicha, moreover, Vadi madhyepi na sarvata shastra bahishkara. Even during discussion, we don't totally reject Shastra Bahishka. Moreover, the holy text is not totally excluded, not totally prohibited, even during the debate. Even during the debate, we don't totally exclude them, boycott them, or prohibit the quotation. Only thing is, the quotation can be brought. We have no objection. It is not that we are atheist and we don't believe in any Shastra quotation or Guru's quotation. See, the point is here is very important, which Swamiji is bringing here. You may bring a quotation also. We are not against it. Then why did you say you set aside any citation of the Shastra or any Guru's word, any Acharya's word, Aptavakya. Acharya's word means Aptavakya. Any testimony of any Acharya or any Mahatma, and then any Siddha Purusha, and or even Shastra Vakya and a Vakya of any Siddha Purusha. Don't use them. First talk based upon Anubhava and Anubhavanusara Yukti. Why did you say that? That's because he says, we are not totally excluding. Nahi. What is that? Shastra. Apicha Vadi Madhyepi Sarvata Na Sarvata Shastra Bahishkaraha. If we are permitted to bring quotations from the Shastra means Shruti and other Vedanta texts, and then the Siddha Purusha's Vakya, even during the debate also, then what is the difference? Then why did you say before? Because whatever is presented by both the debaters, whatever is presented, Shastra Sammatatvena Abhimata Margena Ivahi Tarkyate Ubhabhyamapi. Even if you bring the quotations also, thing is, even if we don't bring Shastra Vakyas directly, the statements directly you may not quote, but our discussion is running on the line of Shastra only. In keeping with Shastra, in keeping with our Jnani's Vakyas alone, we are discussing. Okay. We don't quote them, but their ideas, their line of thinking, their arguments, that alone we are bringing here, using here. Then if you are discussing in the line of Shastra, in the line of our Jnani's statements alone, then why preventing them? Why preventing is based on the ideas of acceptable to the holy texts. Okay? In the line of their thinking. In their line of thinking alone, we are discussing. In that case, why? Because what I wish to say, all that I wish to say, see, Swamiji is the main crux. Yadatu Shastravakyam Abhignavakyam va Grishyate Vichara Madhye. When you bring either a Upanishadic statement, Vedantic statement, or a Mahatma statement, a Bhakta Jnani statement, may not, thing is the just because we only prohibited bringing such a citation, because people generally, when they bring a citation, a quotation from Vedanta or from Mahatma statement, so and so Acharya said it. Okay. Just in the name of the Acharya, once you bring a statement, you expect the other person to accept it blindly without vichara, without enquiry. This is what he is against it. Bringing the quotation itself, we are not against. But thing is, you want to use a statement of an Acharya or a Vedanta, and once you bring it, then no discussion further, because if you question it, if you question that statement, oh, you are questioning the very Acharya, you are questioning Vedanta, people start objecting. This is what he is preventing it. You may bring it, you may not bring it. First thing is, any point, any idea you brought, that has to be verified in our Anubhava. That has to be verified in our Anubhava. So when a holy text or a holy man's words or experience is quoted during a debate, then the opponent may accept its intrinsic validity. the validity or pramanikata of those Vakya, whether Upanishad Vakya or any Acharya's Vakya, the validity of that Vakya should be verified in our Anubhava. Okay? Then we don't mind. See, if you bring a quotation, if you bring a Vedantic quotation or any Acharya's quotation or your own statement, it is immaterial for us. That is the thing. You may bring your own statement or Acharya, we take it as a your own statement. Whether you quote Vedantic Vakyam or you quote any Mahatmas, Acharyas, any other Acharya's Vakyam, any great man, any Mahatma, any Siddha Purusha's Vakya. But just by quoting it, you can't expect us to shut up our mouth and then accept it blindly. This is what we are against. Okay? You can't expect us to just accept it blindly without inquiring. We only want to verify each statement in our Anubhava and see whether it goes with our Anubhava. That's all we mean. So, if you bring a quotation meant for inquiry, meant for verification in your Anubhava, bring it, anybody's quotation, we don't mind. That it can be Vedantic quotation of Vedanta, quotation from Vedanta, it can be any Mahatma Acharya's Vakya, or it can be your own Vakya. Any Vakya it could be, but that Vakya itself must be inquired, must be verified in our Anubhava, and only when it tallies with our experience, we can accept it. So the validity, the acceptability, the validity or merit of the Vakya, the validity of the Vakya, the acceptability of the Vakya should be only in keeping with Anubhava only. Only when it tallies with our Anubhava, only when it is verified with Anubhava, we should be able to accept it. If this condition is accepted, you may bring anybody's quotation, but the opponent may take it as your own statement. You may bring your Acharyas, your Gurus, your Mahatma, your Siddha Purusha or Upanishadic, any quotation you bring it, but the opponent will take it as your own statement and want to verify it in your universal Anubhava. But you can't prevent him from verifying it from your Anubhava. Only thing is, just by raising a quotation, you don't expect the person to shut up and accept it. This is what we don't want. You understand the difference? We are not against the quotation, but the opponent will take it as your own statement. You may take your Acharya's name, but we set aside Acharya's name. Upanishadic Vakya, Vedantic Vakya, or your Gurus, your Acharya's Vakya. It may be anybody's Vakya or your own Vakya. It is immaterial for us. It is immaterial. You may quote, we don't mind it. But we take it as your own statement and expect it to tally with Anubhava. Expect, and we want to accept its validity only when it goes with our Anubhava. Only when it can be verified in our Anubhava, we accept its validity. Then it may be your Acharya's Vakya, your Guru, some Siddha Purusha's Vakya, Ramana Maharshi's Vakya, some Shankarapita Acharya's Vakya, or Nisargadatta's Vakya, or Ramakrishna, anybody, it could be any Acharya, any Guru. So just we are only against this, that just by taking a great man like Ramana Maharshi or some Shankaracharya, he said it, Acharya said it, therefore you can't question, you can't verify. This you can't say. You bring any quotation, we want to verify it in everybody's universal Anubhava. If it tallies with universal Anubhava, the validity of the statement automatically gets proven. It becomes automatically correct, automatically accepted. It becomes naturally accepted because it is talking the universal Anubhava. So it is the merit of the statement should be tested in your Anubhava, if it is in keeping with your Anubhava, let it be Acharya's Anubhava, let it be Acharya's statement, your statement or somebody's statement. We don't mind. Generally, people bring the quotation instead of, instead of what Swamiji says is, instead of bringing somebody's quotation, some Upanishadic or some Acharya, some great man's, great Mahatma's quotation, first you try to show it in our Anubhava, point out the Anubhava and Anubhava based reasoning. So to escape, they bring the quotation in order to circumvent this reference to Anubhava, verifying in our Anubhava and Anubhava based reasoning. To circumvent this reference to Anubhava, verification in our Anubhava and Anubhava based reasoning, to escape it, they just bring some Ramana Maharshi said it, Ramakrishna said it, or some Shankaracharya said it, Shankara Pitacharya, that's all, you must accept it, you can't question. This is the thing, doesn't work in a debate, in a discussion, because it becomes a belief rather than vichara. Because what you say is only a belief rather than vichara. Some quotation you brought it and you don't know what is the meaning of it. And even if you give out some idea, whether that idea tallies with our Anubhava or not, you are not allowing us to inquire in our Anubhava and see whether it fits in with our Anubhava. If you are not allowing us to test it, verify it in our Anubhava, if you are allowing us to verify the validity of the merit or validity of the statement in our universal Anubhava, then bring quotation, we don't mind. But we take it, either it could be Vedantic quotation or Acharya quotation or your own statement. It is a material. Any statement you bring it, as long as you allow it to be verified in our Anubhava, we don't mind. You bring any quotation, we don't mind. Swamiji's idea is this, not against any quotation just like that. People unable to understand this Mula Vidya Nirasa, that means text, Mula Vidya Nirasa text, and particularly this argument, people superficially take it, don't think at all further. And they say, oh, Swamiji doesn't want quotation. Without quotation alone, only by argument you have to prove the Advaita. And then Upanishad is redundant, he says. This argument Swamiji himself raises. Next argument is this only. Then Upanishad becomes redundant then. You don't need any quotation. Directly you can prove directly by our own statement that they bring it. So Swamiji, Sachidananda Swamiji is making Upanishad is irrelevant. Without Upanishad, only by argument you have to prove the Tattvam. Swamiji says, even the debate runs on the line of Upanishad only. Runs by taking the Upanishadic ideas, our Jnani's ideas, taking those ideas alone, we debate. But during the debate, our concentration is on verifying in our Anubhava, reference to our universal experience, universal intuition. And the reasoning based upon that universal intuition, that is important. Okay? That is important. Therefore, if the statements of Upanishad or if the statement of Acharya is allowed to be verified in our Anubhava, then okay, in fact they are great. But no statement ever, if it is a statement of the truth, the statement is not afraid of verifying in your Anubhava. In fact, the statements are referring to our universal truth, universal Anubhava only. The universal Anubhava, the Brahmanubhava, they are referring to. So they cannot go against, they cannot be afraid. The statements of Vedanta, statements of Acharyas are not afraid of being defeated when they are tested against our Anubhava. Okay? Acharya statement or any Jnani statement or any Upanishadic statements, if you bring them, those statements are not afraid of being defeated when they are tested against our Anubhava. They are not at all afraid. In fact, if you apply them to your anubhava, the statements will come out as more valid. Okay? Because they are touching the universal truth, universal anubhava. The statements will come out more beautifully, more correct. So you don't have to worry. Only thing is, you bring the quotation, ask us to not verify, not question, not inquire into, but just accept because Ramana Maharshi told, or some Shankaracharya told. Shankaracharya means Pitacharya said, or Ramana Maharshi told, or Nisargadatta told. That's all. He said it. Now don't question further because he is a Jnani. So taking the name of Jnani, now once he says, the person, the debater should have a freedom. The debater, the opponent should have a freedom. Okay. I think I am repeating, but I hope to make the point clear. This is a very complex point. The opponent should have a freedom to inquire into it further and verify it, test it in his anubhava. Just because it is some great Jnani statement, oh, you should accept blindly and don't question, don't try to verify in your anubhava. You can't say that. If you bring quotation, nice. But allow me to verify it, test it in everybody's universal anubhava. If it fits in, if it is in keeping with the universal anubhava, the statement itself will automatically get proven to be right. Then nobody will reject the statement. In fact, we will start appreciating the statement much better. We will have a more respect for that Guru, for that Mahatma, for that Vedantic Vakya, if it proves to be true to our anubhava, universal anubhava. Okay? So why should you bring a quotation and ask us not to verify in our anubhava? Because it is Mahatma told, Ramana Maharshi told, some Maharshi, some Jnani told, he is a Jivan Mukta. People say that already. You give a person a title that he is a Jivan Mukta, and then you say whatever he is told, no, you can't question. He is a Jivan Mukta. He is an Avatara Purusha. Therefore, you have to accept. So, this is what is not a vichara. This is a faith in the person. This is good for upasana, doing upasana of a Jnani, but not a vichara. Tell me. See the difference. If Jnani's statement is right, you have a faith in him, you have a respect for him, you have a love for him, you have a veneration for him, that will make a good Shraddha. That makes a good upasana of that Jnani, but not a vichara. What we want is vichara. Vichara is different from upasana. All Pujya Mahatmas, Jnanis, Siddha Purushas, Avatara Purushas are respectable to us. We respect them, but you can't impose, you can't bring their quotation and ask us to further, no question, accept it. This is good for us as an upasana if you are doing, oh, Ramana Maharshi is great, Ramakrishna is great, Shankaracharya, Chandrasekhara Bharati is great, and then Kanchi Paramacharya is great, or Satchidananda Swamiji is great. They are all great people. So it is good if you bring their quotations, and we have naturally any Vedantin, any sadhaka, why Vedantin? Any simple sadhaka will have respect for all these Mahatmas, all these Jnanis. But if you say that no question, no verification, it is said by him, you have to accept it. No question further. This is good for upasana, it is not a good vichara. Because you are not allowing us to verify the statement, either you say verify the statement in the light of anubhava, or say verify your anubhava in the light of the statement. Either way, it is the same. You verify your anubhava. That means you question into your anubhava, see in which level of your anubhava this statement comes to be right. This statement comes to be right at which level of your anubhava. Means at what level all this gets negated, that unnegatable anubhava, unnegatable universal anubhava remains at what level? One is the Indriya anubhava, another is Manasik anubhava, third is Yogi Purushas, Bhaktas anubhava, fourth is universal anubhava like Jagrat Swapna Sushupti, Avastha anubhava, then fifth is Brahma anubhava, that is Atma anubhava. So out of these five, at what level this statement comes to be right? Okay, at what level we have to say? It is at the Brahma level, Brahmanubhava level. All avasthanubhavas are mutually negated. They mutually cancel each other, and the Swatasiddha Brahmanubhava remains self-existing. So if this statement touches that anubhava, refers to that, refers means suggests. If the statement of a jnani refers to that universal Brahmanubhava, that statement automatically proves to be right. So we are not against any quotation. But you bring the quotation, the opponent may try to verify that statement in his anubhava. He takes it as a your statement. Your means at the debaters. You may bring a jnani statement, Vedantic statement, or your statement. We combine all of them and take as your statement and try to verify in our anubhava. He takes it as a your statement. You take anybody's name, but opponent will take it as a your statement and try to verify. This much freedom he has, then we have no, then nobody has objection to bring quotation also. Okay. But if the quotation is brought not to verify, not to inquire, but to accept because he said it, now no questioning, no inquiry, but I have to accept it. This is the what? Preventing the inquiry, but asking you to believe the statement. A belief is good for upasana, not for vichara, not for knowing the truth. So if you believe, it is not jnana. Okay, this is what Swamiji says. Okay, therefore, yadatu shastra, see, apicha vadi madhyepi na sarvata shastra bahishkara. Even during the, I'm just repeating the same statement, the Swamiji statement, even during the debate, the quotation, citing a quotation is not totally excluded, but Shastra Sammatatvena Abhimata Margena Ivahi Tarkyate Ubhabhyamapi, because we are discussing actually in line of Shruti only, or even Mahatmas, all Jnanis, Jnani statements, a Jnani's line of thinking, or even Vedantic line of thinking alone, we follow only that line of thinking. Okay. We follow only that line of thinking, while vichara, then where is the question of rejecting them? We are not opposite to a statement which makes a suggestion. See, the purpose of Shruti Vakya is to make a suggestion, point out an anubhava, a deeper level anubhava. It is pointing out, it is asking you to pay attention to at another deeper level, which is human being himself cannot do, because he is caught up in his desha, kala, vastu, his jnatrugneya sambandha, in his dvaita thinking. He is identified with his mind and sense organs. His mind is always bahirmukha. So, an apaurusheya vakyam, apaurusheya means a vakyam which is agama vakyam. Agama means a statement which points out the truth, which diverts your attention in a proper way, in a proper angle to help you to pay attention towards the Brahman, whereby dropping your identification with mind and sense organ. Okay, so by negating your jivatvam, by negating adhyasa, your mind has to be turned towards Brahmatvam. So this turning towards Brahmatvam, giving a turning towards the Atma by dropping the identification with the body, mind and sense organs, this suggestion is the Upadesha. It could be Upanishadic Vakyam, it could be Vedantic Vakyam, it could be any Jnani's Vakyam, or it could be your own Vakyam. Vakyam comes from whom is immaterial. See, who is the source means everybody is referring. Whether it is a your own statement or Vedantic statement or a Jnani statement, it is immaterial. Whether the statement is really making a suggestion of Brahmatvam, that alone we take interest in. Is it really suggesting Brahmatvam, or it is pointing out an anubhava lower than Brahmatvam? an Anubhava lower than Brahmatvam means Brahmanubhava is unnegatable. Any other Anubhava is negated by another Anubhava, contradicted by another Anubhava. So waking is contradicted by dream, dream is contradicted by waking. But Brahmanubhava, which is underlying all Anubhavas, itself is unnegatable. Therefore, is the statement referring to that unnegatable? We have to verify. Okay. Therefore, what is that statement referring to? What is it suggesting? You look at the suggestion in your Anubhava. If it is suggesting that unnegatable universal truth, then the sentence comes out to be proven to be right. Okay. Therefore, even the debaters also keep the Vedantic ideas in their mind and bring the step by step. They point out only in their own words. In their own words, they point out the Anubhavas and bring the reasoning based upon Anubhava in their own words. But the basic vision is from the Jnani's words and then Vedantic words alone. The Vedantic vision, Vedantic Jnanam alone they keep in their mind and bring through their own words they point out, so that if the debater's words come, I can question, I can inquire, I can see in my Anubhava. If you bring directly the quotation, then you say you are not supposed to question, you are not supposed to inquire, then the mind blocks. All inquiry gets stopped. He only wants us, whether it is a Vedantic statement or Jnani statement or your own statement, all the statements should help us into probe into your Anubhava, inquire into your Anubhava. If they allow us, you bring anybody's statement. We have no objection. But allow us to inquire. Take it as your own statement and inquire. That's all we want. Therefore, yadatu shastravakyam abhignavakyam va. See, abhignavakyam, some jnani's vakyam. Va grishyate vichara madhye. If the statement is brought during the debate, va tada prativadi, the opponent, may take the statement, make the statement either as a Vedantic statement or Jnani statement or your own statement. It should be immaterial. Prativadi tad vakya vishayasya pramanopanitattvam. The validity of the statement, moola pramanyadeva angikarotu. He may accept the validity either from the Upanishad or from yourself, it may be anybody. But manamava natan matrena tena kinchit aparadhamiti yujyate mantum ittetavadi hochyate. He may take it as a your own statement and try to verify. You allow him to verify, that's all. And if it proves to be right in your Anubhava, then it is okay. It is the same for the opponent. This is my footnotes I have added here. It is the same for the opponent if the statement is your own quotation or from a holy text. Others take it on its intrinsic validity, intrinsic merit alone, and a text does not become more valid just because it is from a holy text or a holy person. Whatever is presented by a debater, either from a holy text or your own text, your own statement, it should have an intrinsic validity. Okay, intrinsic validity means you should allow it to be verified in our Anubhava. That's what we means. So in either case, see, next Swamiji says, Yadi upanyasyate vadina bhavatu tadapya vakyastam anyadevava. Whether the statement is your own statement or the Vedantic statement or some your Guru's statement, it can be anybody's, but sarvasyapi arthasya sopapattikatvam aksheptum swatantrena bhavitavyam prativadina. The opponent should have a freedom to question it and verify it in his Anubhava. Verify it test it in his anubhava. That's all we say. He should have a freedom. Just because it is Acharya's quotation, Vedantic quotation, you can't shut my mouth. You can't ask me to accept it blindly and no questioning. I should have a freedom to question it and see, verify it in my anubhava. If this permission, this much is freedom is given, then you can bring the quotation. Okay? So, tasya sarvasyapi arthasya sopapattikatvam, that it is a validity. Aksheptum swatantrena bhavitavyam prativadina. The prativadi opponent should have a freedom to be able to question it, to be able to expect it to follow the anubhava, to tally the anubhava, tally with the anubhava, not go against anubhava. He has a freedom to question it, expect it, verify it, test it in his anubhava. This much. Anyatha, if you don't allow this much freedom, but just you bring the quotation and I am supposed to accept, anyatha hi pramana karana viyuktamapi yatkinchidupanyasya. Then people bring anybody's quotation, they say he is a great man, he has got a lot of following and he is a great man because he is a famous person. Ramana Maharshi is famous, Ramakrishna is famous, there are many acharyas are famous, so they have got a big following and all those things are there. So just because he is famous and you bring the quotation, ask me to accept it without enquiry, that's a waste. Yatkinchidupanyasya sarvas sarvamapi samarthayitum shaknuyat. Then what happens? Anybody can quote anybody acharya, call him he is a great jnani. Now don't bring that their Ramana Maharshi is greater, that Swami is greater, this Swami is great, or Ramakrishna is great. Now don't put them one against other. And who is great? Based upon that decide that their statements are true. So don't bring unnecessarily their statements or their gurus and jnanis into quarrel. Okay? Because the real fact is your anubhava. The real fact is our anubhava, and the real problem is we have to do inquiry, we have to give up our adhyasa, and we have to understand the truth. Okay? We have to negate our adhyasa, and we have to understand our atmanubhava, brahmanubhava. So when it is a matter of inquiry, when it is to be inquired into our anubhava, why bring these quotations and put one quotation against another? No, Ramana Maharshi is great, therefore his statement is right. Therefore he is great and this statement is right. Why bring these people and then put them as competitors? So that is not a debate, that is not a healthy discussion, that is unnecessary quarreling. It is not vichara. Debate should be vichara type. So what Swamiji says is, the debate should be of vichara. You bring any statement, I test it on my anubhava. Okay? And I say anything from my anubhava, so that I am pointing out in your anubhava, I am pointing out everybody's universal anubhava. You can check for it. You can check it in your anubhava. Okay? So therefore, the debate should be checking our anubhavas. Your anubhava, my anubhava, it is not your personal anubhava. It is our universal anubhava. Waking, dream and deep sleep, Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti are universal anubhava. We all can verify in our anubhavas. So, if such statements you bring them, then it is a good debate. The debate is helping you to do vichara, helping you to inquire into our anubhavas. That's a beautiful debate. So, debate should not bring persons, personal opinions, personal views, personal experiences. And don't impose, seeing his national status, social status, that is a very popular guru, therefore you must ask. So, neither bring their social standing in the world, nor you bring how much following he has got. Okay? And nor put one jnani against one jnani statement against another jnani. So, we should not discuss at this level, but it can be anybody's statement, but whether statement is tallying with our anubhava, that alone. Because we all have to question, we all have to probe into our anubhavas, and that anubhavas should be universal anubhava, not anybody's personal anubhava, personal opinion, personal idea. Personal experience we are not interested. That may be good for Upasana, but not for Vedanta Vichara. This is what is the difference. It is a Vichara debate. It is a debate for Tattva Vichara, for understanding the truth. It is not a debate of which of the Jnani is great, who is more popular, whose statement we must believe, whom you may have Upasana of Ramana Maharshi, I may be doing Upasana of another Jnani. So, which Jnani? You have naturally a soft corner, a reverence for one Acharya, another person has another Jnani. So, therefore my Guru is great, therefore my Jnani is a real Jnani, Jivan Mukta, therefore he is well known as a Jivan Mukta. Somebody told that he is a Jivan Mukta, therefore you must accept. It is not a personal acceptance. It is our universal Anubhava should accept it. Okay? Personally, I may be willing to accept, I am willing to accept all Jnanis, all Gurus are great. All are our respectable to us. So it is not your personal acceptance. Our universal experience should accept. Accept means a tally. Okay? That is what is the Vichara. I hope you understand in spite of my repetitions. So he says, Sarvasyapi arthasya sopakatpikatvam sopapattikatvam akshepam swatantrena bhavitavyam prativadina. A vadi should have a freedom to verify it, test it, check it in the universal against the background of universal Anubhava. Anyatha, you bring anybody's quotation and say that he is a Jnani, he is a Jivan Mukta, then you have no faith in him, you are not a Hindu at all. If you don't accept that Shankaracharya and he is a Jivan Mukta and you are rejecting him, therefore you are unfit for Veda. This kind of things, sweeping statements and sweepingly declaring that somebody is a Jnani, this kind of things. No, he is a Jnani, he is a Jivan Mukta. He may be Jivan Mukta, we have all respect for him as a Jivan Mukta. His being Jivan Mukta is not under discussion. That is not under dispute. That may be there, leave it aside. Thing is, our Anubhava, we have to verify. That is the thing. Okay? Whether it is proving to be a universal truth in our Anubhava, verify in your Anubhava. It should be a Vichara session. It should be a self-enquiry debate of self-enquiry. Two people come together and do enquire. With each others, by debating, by arguing, we are questioning our Anubhavas and going to the root of the Anubhava, universal truth, where all Anubhavas, lower level Anubhavas get negated, universal Anubhava stands to be unnegated. If you reach that point, then that statement is right. Okay? It is proven in your Anubhava, my Anubhava, everybody's Anubhava. So if a sincere Jignyasa, a sincere seekers of truth, they are inquiring into their Anubhava with the help of the statements, even the debate should be not to defeat which person. The purpose of debate is not defeating you or me. It is not your personal victory. Whether you win, I win is not the problem. It is the universal truth. Are we able to arrive at the universal truth with this statement, with this prakriya? With this prakriya, with this statement, can a person reach that absolute truth, unnegatable truth by negating everything else? Is your statement helping me, helping you, helping anybody on the earth, any sadhaka? Does that statement help any sadhaka to negate all our other Anubhavas and land you, help you to land in that absolute Anubhava, unnegatable Anubhava? This is what we have to inquire. Allow me to do that inquiry. If you stop that, no, he is a Jnani, Jivan Mukta, you must accept, then the inquiry stops. No Vichara. It is only weighing which Jnani is higher Jnani, lower Jnani, all that is, that is a childish way of comparing Jnanis, who is greater, who is smaller, who has got greater following, and all that is. Who wrote many books, all that is. That's good for Upasana, not for Vichara. Okay? If somebody has some faith in one Jnani, one Jivan Mukta, and he treats him as a superior, great Jnani, and puts his photo and does puja, everybody only thinks of him, it is good. He is doing Upasana, Atmajnam Harchayet Bhuti Kamaha. A Jnani either a person interested in the worldly benefit, or some punya, or a person interested in jignasu also. A jignasu also can have a shraddha, bhakti and upasana of a jivan mukta, upasana of a jnani. We all do anyway. We all do upasana of some jnani, whomever you consider as a brahmatva. Jnani means directly Brahma Swarupam. We all do upasanas. So if you do upasana of one jivan mukta, one jnani, I may be doing upasana of another jnani. So naturally that jnani's upadhi appears to be highest for you because you are doing upasana. That's good. Let us do it and let us continue it, but don't impose it on others, and therefore that is final truth. You can't declare his statement to be final truth, and therefore no questioning further. You can't say that. Okay? It is a vichara debate. It is a vichara session where we discover the truth, not believe somebody as jnani. That is a upasana. That is a separate issue. Anyatha hi pramana karana viyuktamapi yatkinchidupanyasya sarvasarv. In that case, if you allow a person to bring a quotation during the debate, before you settle the issue, before you arrive at the truth, you only bring a quotation, then ask him, accept. In that case, what happens? Who is a jnani, who is a jivan mukta, you don't know. Each one considers somebody as a jnani, as a jivan mukta, somebody says Shankaracharya is a jnani, and somebody says Ramanujacharya, somebody says Madhva, somebody says Ramakrishna, somebody says Vivekananda, somebody says somebody else, and then they take that quotation, and therefore he is a jivan mukta, he is a jnani, he is an avatara, therefore this statement is final. Now you can't question. Then anybody can bring anybody's statement, any statement, and then draw conclusion on it and declare it as a final and prevent everybody from questioning it further. In that case, truth cannot be determined. There is no inquiry, no ascertainment of truth in your anubhava. Ascertainments in anubhava. No discovery of the truth, but only believing and doing upasana. It is becoming a belief and upasana. This is what Swamiji says. Anyatha hi pramanakarana viyuktamapi. Even if it is an unverifiable statement, or even if it is against our anubhava, even if it is against anubhava, it is said in so-and-so book and so-and-so religion, so-and-so saint told, so-and-so prophet told, you must accept. Now you can't verify in your anubhava. So then yatkinchidupanyasya. A person may state anything. Sarvas sarvam api samarthayitum shaknuyat. Anybody can defend. Anybody can defend. Anybody can justify that he is the final, he alone is right. Then in that case, each one has his own guru. Each one has his own prophet, his own rishi. Each one will declare his own idea as the final. Now ultimately, which is the truth? Tattva avyavasthapana prasangaha. Then the truth is not determined. Truth, which is universal, is not determined at all by this kind of thinking. Okay, tasmat shakni iti vada vyavastha pariplava eva prasajjayata. Then the very debate will go into helter-skelter. Pariplava means the debate would go haphazard or haywire. The debate will collapse. Now there is no debate. Each one declares, hey, you are wrong, this alone is right because he is a jnani. Each one quotes somebody and declares something. Each one quotes somebody and declares. Each one declares he alone is right. It is something like I see some debate. We have won it, somebody says. Other fellow says, no, I won it. Each one declares that he won it. A third person, a mediator, a neutral person, a judge should declare who won and who lost. Each one can't declare that I won and I myself won. That way each one declares that I won. My point is proven to be right. He is not accepting because of his prejudice. People say like, oh, because of his prejudice he is not accepting, but he knows I am right. And he knows that I am right, but he is not accepting. Other person says, no, he knows he is not accepting, I am right, because of his prejudice and ego he is not accepting. Because of his ego he is not accepting, but it is right. Each one declares he alone is right. Then ultimately who is how do you know which is truth? When each one declares the truth, then there will be 10 truths. Okay? This doesn't work. Then where is the debate then? The debate doesn't move further. The debate collapses. He says, Vada Vyavastha Pariplavaha. Ante Vada Vyavastha, the system of discussion, the system of debate, the healthy debate will collapse, will not run, will not work. Pariplava means breaks. There is no healthy debate. There is no healthy debate, healthy discussion at all. Each one declares he alone is right. Then there is no debate at all. I have seen one. Shall I tell you? It may look bad. I won't take anybody's name, I'll tell you. One Swamiji says, two Swamis came together. Because we live among only Swamis only. I get examples of Swamis only because we live among them only. So he came there. And he discussed a long time. Then ultimately he says, you see, you won't budge from your stand and I won't budge from my stand. I won't accept your stand. You won't accept my stand. What is the point in discussion? Keep to yourself. Let us agree with it. Agree to disagree. If you agree to disagree, there is no debate. There is no, you have not arrived at the truth. You have not discovered the truth. You have discovered a disagreement. That's all. What you have discovered is only disagreement. And you go away with your own idea. You go away with your own idea, which is unproven, undiscovered, unaccepted, rejected by others and stubbornly held by yourself. You hold stubbornly to your idea and rejected by others. See, people say, oh, they are not accepting, they are prejudiced. See, immediately accuse others of prejudices and ego. Because of their ego, because of their prejudice, they are not able to accept it. I have seen here. The big Swami says that, hey, why they have not accepted? Because of their prejudice, they are not accepting. See, they are pointing out the mistakes. He is unable to answer. He is unable to understand what mistakes they are pointing out. Yet he says, oh, they are not accepting because they are prejudiced. So, instead of discussing, pointing out, expect the person to verify in your anubhava. The anubhava itself will prove to be right. Whether the statement is right, anubhava itself will prove. So, instead of doing that, he makes a statement, asks the other to accept it. If they find fault with it, oh, he is prejudiced. Then this way, how will you discuss? The purpose of discussion is not defeating somebody and you coming out successful, you coming out victorious. That is not the purpose of debate. See how Swamiji is interested in discovery of the truth in your anubhava. That is important. Purpose of debate is not social. Okay? Purpose of debate is not social, not political, not anything. Our Shankara Vijayas write that, oh, who won it? Shankaracharya won and Mandana Mishra defeated. And who declared it that, what is her name? Ubhaya Bharati. They make it a more social and sensational. Vedantic discovery is neither social nor sensational. It is a universal experience. Okay? Only a jignasu, having a vairagyam, having a serious thinker, a serious sadhaka, a seeker of truth alone can participate in the discussion. And he will listen to the opponent's argument and try to check it in his anubhava. If proves to be right, then we'll accept it. Otherwise, if it is contradicted by anubhava, then it has to be rejected. So this should be openness. If you don't have the openness, don't go for debate. But people, those who are prejudiced themselves, accuse others of prejudice. This is a very strange thing. This fellow himself is not open. He doesn't listen to others at all. Doesn't listen to others. He is pointing out the defects in your argument. He doesn't even listen to others' argument and he presents something and then he expects the other to accept it. If he doesn't accept, you are prejudiced. If he questions further, he gets angry. What do you call this kind of thinking? Therefore, he must accept my argument. Thing is, the argument should be neither your nor mine. It is a universal anubhava. That's why Swamiji told, anubhava, anubhavanusara yukti. The yukti should be based upon anubhava, So it is universal Anubhava and universal Yukti. It is a universal logic, universal reasoning based upon universal Anubhava. It is neither yours nor mine. Why make it individual? Why make it an individual Acharya or Jnani or somebody? Look at the universal truth, because are you interested in truth? If you are interested in truth, look at the truth, not to the individuals. Debaters are only participants, are only pointing out, that's all. Debaters, individuals are not unimportant. Individuals are unimportant. What they say, is it universal or not? Stay at that level. Stay at that level of Anubhava. Then discuss there alone. Okay? Therefore, tasmat vadinor madhyayas tarkam anubhavanusaranamapyanadritya. A person who ignores the universal experience and then that the reasoning based upon that universal experience, then he brings only quotation, my Jnani told, he is a Jivan Mukta, Ishvara Shasana. He says Ishvara Shasana means this gospel statement, and then Shruti, this prophet's statement. Shruti quotes as a Upanishad Vedantic statement. Aptavakya, some Jnani statement. Yoga Mahima means some yogi, Jnani, some Avatara Purusha statement. Mantra Rahasya, because he is an Upasana Siddha, therefore his statement is right. Adikam Upannasya, and so on. Either a prophet or a Rishi or a Jnani or somebody, some statement. Somebody's statement Upannasya, Tadbala Deva. Just on the strength of it, he feels that his statement is established. Swapaksham sabalam manyate. My view is established. If he thinks like that, tasya darshanam kudarshanam. His philosophy is a false philosophy. Okay? It is wrong and invalid because he is only quoting somebody and asking you to accept. Therefore, this is not a debate at all. This doesn't work. Okay? 13th passage we have finished. We'll go to the 14th. The next question arises. If we have to discuss only on the level of Anubhava and Anubhavanusara Yukti and no place for quotation, you mean then the Shruti Pramana is thrown into dustbin? Then what is the place of Shruti Pramana? We all accept a Shruti Pramana, then what is the place? There is no place at all. So that the 14th passage Swamiji discusses in the next page, that is in the 16th page and 14th point, we'll discuss in the next class. Okay? I think after that, then 14th big 2 pages, one passage is there. Afterwards, 15th is a conclusion. Okay, in another maybe 2 classes, maybe 2 or 3 classes, we'll finish the first chapter and enter into the real Vedantic discussion of Mula Vidya. Okay, in the second chapter, it will be, I hope it is the best book. I love it very much. It is much more interesting. And then if you have a patience, I repeat, and then point by point I explain. It is an amazing book. I think you will never find it anywhere on the earth in such a book. It may look exaggeration for you, but you listen and you will see. It's an excellent book. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay? Om Narayan.